What's up, guys? Whoop whoop! It's your boy Killer J, coming with you with another episode of Whoops Up, Whoops Down, the Juggalo Movie Podcast, or whatever I feel like calling it. um, so today we're gonna review Anora. We're finally gonna get that review. I have been sick for the last 5 days, since Thursday when I was about to do filming. So it really halted a lot of plans, but we're still gonna be able to keep this train turning and get all these films in before we do the Oscars. And I did a little test with the live stream. We're actually gonna live stream the Oscars now, so peep that out. So if you want to watch the Oscars with your boy, we're gonna do that live stream style. Catch in my feelings and with certain things. We will fill out ballots and see how we how good we get with them. Autumn, my wife, has been really good the last couple of years, so we'll see if her run can continue. So yeah, so that's the plan. We're gonna keep turning these reviews out. There's gonna be probably something special for on Wednesday's episode. Maybe not a movie, but something special. Something I might be posting something. But we'll get back to after this review. We'll see how many I can get in before my honeymoon. Um, but yeah, let's get to the Anora movie review and see if it gets either a whoops up or it gets a whoops down. Let's find out. All right, Anora, the I would say the new version of Pretty Woman. If you take Pretty Woman Cinderella and modernize it, this is the film that birthed it. I think this is a Mickey Madison. This is the first time I've seen her, but I think other people have seen her in other films. But this is kind of a starring role. This is like her up front, and I would say that I really enjoyed the film. If I give my quick thought, I thought it was really good. I feel like I maybe put some high expectations on them that it didn't quite meet. I thought it would be a different kind of movie, but it ended up being the movie that I thought it would be. And I think that's still okay. I think it's still a great movie and still, I think, you know, warrant the awards uh, it deserved a little bit. I think I might have some arguments for certain things, but we'll get there. I'm not going to go too far into the um, unpack my thoughts here as we look through this film. We're going to look through some scenes and stuff like that, but um, to showcase the kind of the feel of what a Nora is, especially after coming off, watching Conclave, and I saw a Nora almost a week ago. So I had time to actually process the film and actually think about it, than doing a quick review. Um, it sat with me, but there's certain things that I have some nitpicks or flaws about it. But let's look who is in the film. It's directed by Sean Baker. It's written by Sean Baker. And, it stars Mickey Madison. I think that's the most important. Yura Borzov, and the other important character, right? Oh, Mark Eldishnin, who played Ivan. Like those are like the three main characters right there, with other characters like Nick, Paul Wiseman, as Nick. It's also super important. It's pretty much about like I said right there. There's the description. A young escort from Brooklyn meets a impulsively marries a Russian oligarch, and the news of this marriage threatens the vitality, because there's legit questions about the marriage. But anyways, the film, I would say, starts out like a Pretty Woman esque um, film, where it's like we meet Mickey Madison, we follow her as an escort, kind of like getting a feel of what her life is as an escort. We spent a lot of time in that opening. I would say first 10 minutes of her really showing her dance move, her personalities, how, how many Johns she meets a day, and kind of like the routines of like wanting a lab, take him to a showroom, do a little sexy stuff, blah blah blah, rinse repeat with every dude and stuff like that. Almost like the man is, is interchangeable kind of thing, and how, you know, but she kind of like knows her job and keeps going kind of thing. You know, it's a it's a whore with a with a golden heart, or whatever the saying is. I don't really know. Um, so let's see what it's been nominated for. Six nominations for Oscars. We got Best Picture, Best Director, Best Performance by an Actress, Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role, and Best Original Screenplay. Hmm. I would say it's warranted in Best Picture. I think it's in that category. Sean Baker as director. Yeah, you can make. I definitely feel like you can make an argument with that. Mickey Madison is the star. She, is a tough nails, no nonsense. Like plays by the. She's a. What would say this? Like I wouldn't mess with her. I wouldn't try to cross her because she would fuck you up, kind of thing. Like she's not afraid to hit a motherfucker. Um, Euro Blazov. I'm gonna wait on my thoughts on that guy real quick. Best original screenplay. Hard to put original when I get it's a Cinderella story. Like it takes a Cinderella story, and kind of flips it, and puts a pretty woman and stuff like that. Little maybe a little mafia like Godfather esque into it a little bit. Um, but original screenplay stretching a little bit, but I can guess, since he wrote the film and it's kind of like his style. I just don't know this. I've never seen a Sean Baker film, so I don't know how special that is. So right now, if I might even give away how I feel about this. All right, so let's check out some scenes right here. This is kind of like the beginning. So I'm gonna set this up. So Anora, which she called herself Annie. She doesn't like to be called Anora. Annie. Um, so Annie is as an escort trying to come on, and then she can speak a little Russian. So like her services are brought to Ivan, this character right here, Ivan, um, who can speak like a lot of Russian and is very rich. So we see that you know Annie and Ivan kind of have like at first it kind of clicks a little bit, um, but we're not. But he's paying money. He's being very nice, and Annie's allowing him to do more than other customers, as we're seeing. And they kind of after this bonding, they kind of develop a relationship. You know, a hoe and a John kind of thing. Like there's active services going on, sex acts going on here. Because Annie's a sex worker, and Ivan is kind of like he's a young kid, probably in his 20s, 21. Like he's very young, fresh faced, and he's using these. He can tell he has a lot of money, and he's using it to spend time with her, smoke a lot of drugs, mostly dabs, in this film, and they kind of go, you know. There, it gets to a point where Ivan likes her so much. There's like, hey, won't you be my girlfriend for a week? He will pay her 1,000, I think, like a certain amount of money to be a girlfriend for the week, and Annie takes it because like it's a good paying gig. She kind of likes the guy, kind of likes the lifestyle. I think, we get to visit her house. She's sharing a home with her sister, so she's very poor, very relatable. Kind of like she's an escort, so she's not well she doesn't make a lot of money, but the money that she makes keeps her by. And so when she meets Ivan, this is like payday. She knows she's going to score big client, so she's going to say yes. And on this trip, as she gets to get with Ivan, they have tons of sex. That they don't shy away from the sex in this film. Um, so during this week of it, Ivan takes his friend and Annie to Vegas, And this is where you kind of see Sean Baker's kind of style. It's kind of like very, very up and close. You can still remember in Conclave, if I like very static, very like how the image is kind of framed up. This one feels more modern, and the way that the camera is like constantly moving, like we're like almost a documentary, like where this is, it feels like real life, and kind of like shows the impulsiveness of the character, I would say. I mean, there's a lot of, liquor, like, come on, partying, like, come on, partying with rich people. Like, we've seen this, this kind of tale before. And I think this is on purpose, the way the film kind of gives this fairy tale notion, and have us also believe with Annie that this is real. Because during this trip, um, Annie and Ivan get married in Vegas. So this is kind of like the now we're into the second part of the film. The second part of the film is the marriage now being challenged by the family, which we find out, like, it never said like the Russian mob, but the person that is Ivan's father, who makes all the money, is a very important, maybe scary like character. Um, and that, gives Ivan kind of this boyish shield, like he feels like he can do anything. So when, the family finds out, they immediately challenge it and try to get it annulled. Ivan runs away, and then we're spending the second part of the film kind of looking for Ivan. And this is where, we get to meet uh your girl's the Igor, which is played Yuri Burzov. He kind of is introduced at this time, and at the time of the film, I was like, all right, I'm kind of following it along, and then this guy shows up, and like, man, the camera's really lingering on this dude, really freaking lingering on this dude. He's very important, and it kind of like and it kind of comes out of nowhere, kind of thing. And it's setting up a twist here about where this is going to end up, because the third act, once they get Ivan, third act happens, and yeah, I mean, it's a Cinderella story where it's like we don't get the strike until midnight, and like Pumpkin and the godmother, no, that doesn't, like that. It's just more of a rag to riches, like, Cinderella was a poor girl who met Prince Charming, and all of a sudden her life saved. So therefore, you know, Annie sees Ivan as like her Prince Charming, something that she gets along and vibes with, and then like, oh, I can get away from this life of, being an escort and stuff like that. Like, I can become, you know, but like little Chris told me, you can't turn a hoe to a housewife. Hoes don't act right. But I think Annie is not a hoe. I mean, she's doing it for money, and for a good reason. Um, another shot when like we get the second act, it's like I said, this is the they're the second act where we're trying to look, and the framing, like, the camera keeps moving, it's more antic, it's more paced. I love this frame right here. Oh, it reminds me of Stranger in Paradise, a film that I watched in film school. Love this. There's this, once this character like comes in, Paul, like, he adds more of the comedy and stuff like that, and where it's like it's a drama comedy, romantic comedy thing. And I just love the shot. And there's Igor right there. He's gonna be very important, with while the plot going on. Like, he seems like a henchman, but he actually becomes more important as the film goes on. Um, but my overall thought of the film is just like, I expected more out of it, and we're to the point where the ending happened. I'm like, oh, that's the end, and it kind of ended, but it ended in a way I think it deals with, class issues more. How the rich view the poor, and how traumatic and how we get played in the richest games. Um, but it's hmm. I it's okay. I think it's a very adequate film. I think it would barely make my top 10. It was a film I was really excited for, but um not I would say that I enjoyed Conclave more. I think Mickey Madison, at her performances, was really good. I don't think it's better than Demi Moore right now. I think Demi Moore does a lot more. I feel like Annie and Nora kind of goes one note a little bit. which is like angry, pissed off. But I mean, she does show other signs, and I don't think Igor leaves much of an impression on me that I feel like it's deserving as a supporting actor. I think it's great that they got nominated, but I personally don't think that um, it rose as being the best. I think very good, above average, but I don't think best when it comes to this. So this is kind of my thoughts real quick. Now let's see if it gets a whoops up, whoops down, and let's get the closing of the show. Let's get to that portion. To close up my thoughts, Anora gets a whoops up. Gets a whoops up. Not a very strong one, but it gets a whoops up. I feel like there's enough for a general audience to enjoy this film. I think women are gonna love Anora Annie and the way her resilience through the situation. She kind of rises above and kind of like challenges the men around her. She doesn't take no shit. She's not mousy. Um, I think a lot of that will connect with a lot of women, and I think a lot, or or a movie audience, and I think they some people are gonna buy the love story and find it very sweet and kind. I didn't. There's a um, the ending didn't quite work for me, and I thought the pacing, um, once again, a pacing issue I have with this movie. It didn't need to be 2 hours plus. I think the second portion of the film when we're fighting Ivan gets kind of repetitive. Where you probably could cut a few scenes or made it, shorten that down a little bit. And I wish the ending landed better. And I, Sh- Sean Baker being nominated for Best Director, I think you can see the argument, but I didn't see anything. His directing, I didn't see anything special with it. It was very, like I said, adequate. You know, this is his first film or one of his first major films. I think I can tell that it's a person that's probably going to be working on, developing his style and stuff like that. Like I like the last one, the cinematography was very, amazing. Where, you know, Sean Baker's style really popped off in like the clubs and stuff like that. When we got outside the club, it was very, the camera work was more, documentary style, more, it was a little shaky and stuff like that. Just like that, that just happened there. Um, when I think of the film The Substance, I just think that imagery is going to stick with me. Where I don't think the imagery in this film, except for that, 5 minute walk station, where I'm actually going to think of an imagery of the film. And I think what I really enjoy in movies, in films, is the visual storytelling. Like you have to get that down for me to even consider it as the great or the best. But overall, sitting through the film, getting some laughs, enjoying Mickey Madison as Annie, it definitely gets a whoops up. So there you go. Whoops up for Anora. And next week we'll see what will happen there and my next movie review. Thanks for stopping by. Whoop whoop. Much clown. Motherfucking love. Happy Valentine's Day and happy Juggalo Day. Whoop whoop.